Well, ladies and gentlemen, hello, and welcome to Formula Elite Racing F1 Round 6 here at Spain. What a track Spain is, and we are just now getting underway. It's the F1 Harold coming out onto the track. We're going to get everything we need up. As apologies, I just need to fix something on OBS. Okay, we should be pretty much sorted. And that's the F1 Harold. And coming around the final corner to start his first lap of the session. Here we go. Down the main straight, DRS open. Going to be hitting speeds of around 200 mile an hour. And then you're braking down to fourth gear, nip it in, use a little bit of curb. Down to third gear, actually. Most people choose to go for fourth, but he nips it through the right and the left, nonetheless, pretty cleanly. And then swooping out wide, burning his battery. 21.690 in the first sector. I was commentating esports drivers here a few days ago, and they were doing sort of 21 zeros in the first sector. Very, very rapid as now through the right-hander. Pretty consistent here from CF1 Harold. He's not really throwing the car in, I think it's fair to say. Just being safe on this first lap, you know, making sure he gets that banker in. 51.537 is provisionally purple. We have his teammate of Amaro Espion behind him on track at the moment. Now through the right-hander, nice and clean through here. Use a little bit of curb on exit. You can now, since the curb glitch has been fixed since F124. As I'm up to the line, comes CF1 Harold 113.461. Now Amaro Espion to the line, 112.777, even faster. Entok in the first sector. Jezza puts in a 14.7. F1 Lightning with a 50.4 in the first two sectors. Power Twan is not pushing on this lap, it would appear. I believe he's doing a double out lap, so we'll stay on board with F1 Lightning. And Power Twan at the start of his lap is going to pick up a little bit of a tow here, as now towards the line. A 111.814 for him. Okay, now moving to Thanos. F1 Lightning putting a 111.814. Sheehan with a 112.331 in the first lap here. Thanos on a 50.575. Now around the final corner. Excuse me, here we go. And up to the line. 112.255. Second place for him at the moment, but still 4/10 off of F1 Lightning at the moment, and that is everyone other than our next two to have set a lap. Tom J. Otter and Owen CFC both yet to set a lap time. They're both on out laps. With Owen now coming across the line to start his first of the session. Here we go, we'll ride on board for the entirety of his lap. We'll keep an eye on Tom J. Otter behind him as well. Through the first sector. Flinging it through pretty nicely from ONCFC up to the split. 21.503. Not too bad from him there. And now through the middle sector he goes. Apologies for the slightly more subtle commentary here at the moment. I'm also trying to fix something on OBS on the side as well. Something's going incredibly wrong on my end. It's not showing up on stream. What is happening in my ear is incredibly awkward, let's say. Owen puts in a 13-0, by the way. Tom J. Otter retired on that one, unfortunately. Okay, we should be fixed, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies about that. We should be all fixed now. F1 Lightning puts in a 1:11.522. On to pole position. He extends his advantage on pole position even more there. Now with Sheehan 3/10 up on his previous best. As to the line he goes, 1:11.852. Second place for him. Really good improvement there. Can he, with a good lap, potentially challenge F1 Lightning in this one? Okay. power to the first sector. 300ths to a second down on his previous best as he has a big step of oversteer. And he spins round. He just got a little weird on the grass and that flung him round, unfortunately. Very unfortunate for him now, as now Entok is making his way through the first couple of sectors to the left-hander down to third gear. Maybe could have gone a little bit tighter and taken a little bit more curb there. Entok doesn't go faster in the end there. CF1 Harold now, or not CF1 Harold, sorry, own CFC, making his way through the middle sector. Looking pretty clean, pretty consistent at the moment. He has a lot of battery left to burn, does he? So is in the middle sector. He wasn't pushing, but he is not on a lap. What about CF1 Harold here? Is he on a lap with 5 minutes to go with a 10th down in the first sector, but now making his way through? It hasn't looked too bad for him, and he is burning the ERS still, so he could well be on a lap here. As down the straight to the duck, he is gained just under a tenth of a second, so he is finding time, but because of that poor first sector, he's not net finding any time, if that makes sense. But with a good final sector, he should be able to make some positions up. As all, there was a bit of a glitch there. I was up to the line. Go CF1 Harold at 1:13.279 for CF1 Harold. And now everyone in the pits except him getting ready for their final runs. Okay, so CF1 Harold now in the pits, and his Ferrari teammate of Amaro Espion making his way out of the pits. Amaro Espion out. First out to do his final run. He's come out with enough time that he can do 2 runs. So what he can do is he can do his outlap, and then if he invalidates his run, he will have time to get round and do another. So Amaro Espion has a luck, or he could do a double outlap if he wanted to. He has a luxury that no one else has Jezza might have it as well, potentially. So these guys coming out early, giving themselves a little bit of freedom and flexibility, I suppose, in their final run plan. Here we go. Jezza starting this run. Amara Respion making his way through turn 1. The man in P7 needs a bigger improvement than this to move himself up the order. As now through the middle sector he goes. Looking pretty good at the moment for Amara Respion. And he has about 50% battery left to burn on the ERS now, a little bit, and then just that slight shift of the wheel, DRS and ERS being deployed down this straight, 2.5 tenths up on his previous best. And now around the final curve, couple of corners, Amara Respion goes, looking pretty good at the moment. And on track to put himself into the mix for P5, potentially. Oh, sorry, P6. He's going to go P6. Potentially could be in the mix for P5 up to the line. A 1:12.254 ended up being quite a long way off of Pablo Plays there. What about Jezza, who makes his way up to the line now? 14.718, 7,000th improvement. He is 12th fastest of the lot. Entok is not pushing either. He will start his lap now. He will have time to do another, and up to the line he will go. And there we are. He starts. CL is off the road. SMG Vortex 100th of a second up there. Amara Respion obviously is not pushing. Pablo Plays now coming through the first couple of sectors. Powertwan also making his way through. Thanos is not going to be going quicker. 1:11.866 is his best. Powertwan 2 tenths of a second up and currently on track to go on to P2. Sheehan does improve at the last, but what about Powertwan as towards this final corner, just the downshift, burn your last little bit of ERS up to the line he goes. 1:11.857. It is P3, but it's not enough to get Sheehan there. And now Pablo Plays up to the line as well. Goes P2. 1:11.695. Finds the time at the last to move himself onto the front row of the grid. And that is the end of qualifying there, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, apologies for the big silence in qualifying. I was trying to sort something out as F1 Lightning qualifies on pole by just over a 10.5. Pablo Plays second place. Sheehan third place. Powertwan in fourth. Thanos fifth. SMG Vortex sixth. Amara Respion seventh. ONCFC eighth. CL ninth. Entok 10th. CF1 Harold 11th. Jezza Racing 12th. And Tom J. Otter did not set a lap in that one. Here we go then. Now heading into the race. Starter tyre strategies. Most likely gonna be a medium to hard job. I don't think the softs are the correct play here, to be honest. So I saw it. I saw a couple of people in the F1. So the people I was commentating on were sort of PSGL Tier 2, if you will. And they went medium hard. There were a couple of people that went soft hard. One of them finished on the podium. Oh, apologies, I was trying to get the chat up. But they could have probably got more. So Tom J serving a qualifying ban as it's 5 red lights. And we're underway here in Spain. It's a good start from F1 Lightning from first place. Sheehan behind is going to get alongside Power to One now into turn number... Power to One alongside Pablo Plays into turn number 1 and does get himself past Fanos under pressure from SMG Vortex, who has the inside line for the next 2 corners and is going to swoop on by. So Fanos down to 5th place, and now CL down the inside on Owen, and now also Amaro Espion. What a send from CL, who spins round. I think there may have been a little bit of contact potentially, but that drops him down to the back of the field. So he will have to go again in the next few moments, as now Pablo Plays behind Sheehan here. And if we look at the first lap shenanigans, it is Power to One at the moment enjoying himself, as now down around the outside it goes Pablo Plays, trying to recover a couple of those positions that he lost on the start. He lost 2, of course, if you because he got jumped by Power to One and Sheehan. And now SMG Vortex. We start lap 2 of 33. And now on to through turn 1 they go. Things flying formation as they stand. But now with DRS about to come online, let's talk about tyres, shall we? So Sheehan choosing the softs, I don't think that's the play. Soft hard is doable, but I don't think it's the play, because then you are trapped with a tyre offset, or the cars ahead of you get a massive tyre offset for pretty much the rest of the race once they pit. So now Jezza Racing drops back to the back of the field here. Not been the greatest of starts for him, but F1 Lightning has had quite a good start. Him and Power to One both running the mediums. Entok choosing the hards. I think if you can stay with the medium and soft runners in this first stint in DRS, then hard medium can be a good strategy. However, I do think it is a little bit tricky to stay with the Mo and CFC dropping off the back, as now Power to One peels to the inside line. F1 Lightning going to have the faster line on the outside, carries more speed and manages to stay in P1 at least for now. But with F1 Lightning seemingly not using as much ERS, Power to One goes around the outside but doesn't quite get the overlap needed to keep it alongside, but has a little think about a move here into turn number 5. Doesn't quite work out for him there, so you have to wait. DRS, he of course will have DRS down this next straight, but you don't really want to try and overtake here, because then you are susceptible to that re-overtake down the start finish straight, as we start lap 4 of 30, or we will start lap 4 of 33 in a few moments time. Power to One has regained a lot of ERS, but F1 Lightning has even more. So the Mercedes doing a very, very good job here of conserving his energy, which is partly why probably he is able to defend really nicely. As here we go, Power to One this time going to try it around the outside, which will be the inside for turn 2, but once again F1 Lightning carries a tiny bit more speed and defends it. Really, really good stuff from him. F1 Lightning driving perfectly at the moment in order to stay ahead of this RB, who is in the start of this race really putting him under a lot of pressure. But if we look at ERS totals, F1 Lightning much more comfortable in that department, as CF1 Harold down the inside on Tom J. Otter gets himself up to 10th place, and now could potentially have a look at a move on Entok, who is on those hard compound and has lost touch with ONCFC. 1.8 seconds the gap, 1.9 even now the gap to ONCFC in that Haas, and then he chases Amara Espion, who has lost the back of Thanos here. So things starting to break up into mini DRS trains here as things stand. You've got the top 6 all in one great big train, and then you've got 7th and 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th and 13th, 12th and then 13th running on his own. 4 seconds back from the rest of them. The thing's starting to break off a little bit, but F1 Lightning on that lap gained a solid amount, as Tom J. Otter, I think, has had a little bit of an offing because he was going slowly, and now Jezza potentially could put him under pressure this lap. As now once again we ride with the RB of Power Twan. Okay, Sheehan now is starting to drop away from Power Twan and F1 Lightning. That's what I mean. Those soft tyres really do not last very long at all. And that is exactly what is transpiring. You can see him now starting to struggle, and Pablo Plays is starting to be brought back into play here against the Red Bull due to those tyres falling away. As now CF1 Harold once again was attacking CL, and they've spun round together. We need to know what's happened there. Unfortunately, F1 doesn't have any replay options or functionality like LMU or ACC, so we won't be able to find out. But I'm sure there'll probably be some words exchanged and potentially some information passed to the stewards. Doesn't look like either of them got damage, which is good. So they, oh no, I tell a lie. CL did pick up damage there, unfortunately for him. So he will be in the pits very, very shortly. Entok as well, also potentially caught up in that. He's dropped back to 13th place behind Jezza. Pablo Plays has got himself past Sheehan here on that lap, as you saw, and now SMG Vortex can have a little look and a move. One man who is going to try and have a look is Thanos. SMG Vortex breaks much later to try and counter any kind of move, and it does just about work. But now, with the RB using a little bit of VRS towards the end of the first sector, he's not quite going to be close enough, unfortunately, for him. Okay. Sheehan now also starting to lose touch with Pablo Plays. Those softs really, really falling away, I believe. When I did the esports drivers on Friday, I believe they went to the end of lap 8 on the soft tyres, as Sheehan is going to stay out. And that is the F1 esports influence potentially kicking in, because of course some people did go soft hard in that race. Unfortunately, not quite working for the Red Bull here today, and I didn't think it would. I think you need esports level tyre wear to be able to make the soft hard strategy work, which is not, unfortunately. Unfortunately, not quite at that level, I think it's fair to say here in FER. We're a very, very good league. but we certainly are not high-level PSGL esports. Okay, and CL has actually retired it on track by the looks of it, in the first sector. No idea what happened to him, but he has retired it, unfortunately. So we are down to 12 drivers in this race, and the battle for the last moment is between Jezza and Entok. But now SMG Vortex moves himself past Sheehan, who gets on the curb. That compromises his line, and now this also brings Thanos into play, and SMG Vortex has already pulled 7.5 tenths on the Red Bull. So these softs are falling and falling away more and more, and you can see on that front left it doesn't look particularly very healthy. You can see the graining there on it, whereas those mediums still look relatively healthy. They don't look incredible, but they look relatively okay, I think is the best way to put it. Sheehan opting to stay out. Now we're going to get overtaken by Thanos down the first straight. And those softs, well and truly dead. The front right also now starting to look pretty unhealthy. So he will be in probably this lap to try and get some new tyres. As Tom Giotta, the first of the medium runners to blink and come in. Hards will go to the end, but they're not going to look pretty. They're not going to look pretty, that's fair to say. Okay. 2 seconds, by the way, is the gap F1 Lightning has pulled us now. Will Sheehan come into the pits? Yes, he will. I feel like that was kind of necessary. Those softs were just dropping, and dropping. And finally he blinks. He is going to go onto the hard tyres to the end of the race now. But they're not going to feel great. I think it's fair to say come the end, those tyres will be shot. Entok picks up a 3 second for track limits. Amara Espion also picks up a 3 second for track limits. They're being handed out like candy at the moment. Okay, Owen CFC in 10th place. Whoa! Big snap of oversteer there from Entok. And now SMG Vortex could potentially put Thanos under pressure. Entok is round. What on earth has happened? He's been on the gravel by the looks of it. I think he potentially hit the gravel a little too hard, which sent his car spinning round. Tom Giota goes past, Owen went past, and now Entok is actually into the pits. Has he got damage potentially? As Owen has retired. On track. Owen, mate, why? Why? Look. He's just retired it on... What are you doing, man? Why retire it on track? Not that I can talk. Not because I've done that myself before, so... I'm not in any position of power to criticise him. As Pablo plays, goes up to second place. Power to one. Now the first of the leaders to jump into the pits. He's going to go onto those hards. Comfortably get himself to the end of the race. Okay, apologies about that, ladies and gentlemen. Mara Espion into the pits. SMG Vortex into the pits. F1 Lightning also in. What is the undercut going to look like? It was only a lap. But let's see what is it going to look like in comparison to F1 Lightning. So here comes Power to one. F1 Lightning comes out. And the gap stands at about 1.8 seconds or so, give or take. So the undercut did work. But it wasn't quite enough for Power to one. So in the end, F1 Lightning was correct to respond immediately. There's two ways you can go. You can either wait you can either wait and go in a few laps later, then your opponent get a tyre offset to the end of the race, or you can go in immediately, which is the option that that F1 Lightning opted for. Okay. SMG Vortex now rolling up on the back of CF1 Harold. I don't imagine he'll put up much of a fight, as down the inside goes Thanos. Pablo plays. Looks to have disconnected. Yes, he has disconnected, so into the pits he goes. Or his AI. You see, it looks like he's driving and not an AI. It's really weird. F1 Lightning sets fast up. Pablo's going on to softs. Okay, that's a race killer. That is a race killer right there. So Pablo plays That disconnect has unfortunately absolutely ruined him. Okay. So Mario Espion been overtaken by Thanos. Lap 17 of 33. And F1 Lightning leads by 2.4 seconds. He is still extending that advantage, and he now does have a lap newer tyres to contend with. Whether that will make a difference come the end of the race, we will see. But it is looking very good for him now as Amaro Espion round the outside on Thanos. Gets it done pretty nicely. Has a little wiggle on exit, but nothing too dramatic. Catches it and carries on. Entok, think maybe have it. I think it was a hat actually. SMG Vortex potentially having an issue or something. Excuse me. Now lap 17 of 33. Once again, Thanos and Pablo plays side by side. Pablo is back in the session, I believe, but got given the squeeze by Thanos there, and has to stay behind at least for now. I think if you're Thanos, there's not really that much point in fighting Pablo too hard, because Pablo is on a 2-stop, and he's not going to make that time. Even with better tyres, he's not going to make that time up. You may as well use him to potentially try and overtake Amaro Espion this lap. If you can, at least. SMG Vortex actually is starting to catch Sheehan a little bit, I believe. But he has a 3-second penalty. The Red Bull in front of him does not. So he will need to try and gain that 3 seconds as well. As now on the inside goes Pablo, plays on Amaro Espion and gets it done. Up to 5th place he goes. Those soft tyres are proving useful at the moment, but of course he won't be going to the end, so he will have to grit his teeth and dig in his final stint, because he is going to be in probably potentially even for another set of softs. He could do mediums he started on, then soft potentially. We will see. We will see. Pablo does set fastest out of the race, as to be expected considering he is on softs, but now here comes Thanos down at the main straight on the inside line. Amaro Espion going to try and fight it on the outside. A little bit of a lock up, and now once again has a wiggle on that left hand curb, which ruins his chance of trying to go side by side. Once again has to sit behind for now. Power to One and F1 Lightning just pacing each other at the moment. They're just, you know, running at a relatively similar pace as things stand. And now we are in the quiet part of the race. I think it's fair to say that 20 of 33, and there is nobody in DRS of another car. There is not too much going on, unfortunately, at the moment. Thanos actually has got himself to floating around DRS range on Pablo Place, so maybe those soft tyres already starting to fall away. It wouldn't surprise me. Softs are not really a viable race tyre in F1 25, I think it's fair to say, as that is a Red Bull of Entok going round, spinning, and he will carry on, he'll rejoin, still in 11th place, but still outside of the points, as he is now going to come into the pit lane and retire it from the session. That is the end of his race, and then there were 10. So purely from that, Jezza is going to guarantee himself points. As no SMG Vortex actually can put Sheehan under pressure once again. Okay. Sheehan has upped the pace a little bit on this lap, and I mean, looking at the tyre situation, Sheehan's look a tiny bit worse. Tyre age. I mean, that makes sense. They are 3 laps older than SMG Vortexes. And 3 laps is a relative advantage. It's not like major, but it is definitely relative, especially when you head towards the end of a stint. So it's probably what, 9-10%, potentially maybe more, which is definitely a relative amount. Because if, for instance, 60 versus 75 is quite the difference in grip, or even 45 versus 60. It's definitely relative. Or 45, 55, it's definitely a relative amount. It's not going to be dominant towards the end of the stint. Sheehan's tyres will show the rage in comparison to SMG Vortex's there. Sheehan is actually going to come into the pits. So he is going to, as does Pablo Plays. So Sheehan goes on to a set of mediums to the end of the race. Pablo Plays also going to go on to 15 lap old mediums. Oh dear. What has happened there, Pablo? And into the pits now comes Tom Otter, as does Pablo Plays once again. So Pablo in again, so he is going to come on to a set of softs, is that? No, mediums. Why did it stick him on the old mediums then? If he had a new set, why didn't it shove him on the... That's incredible. That is incredible that that's done, the game's done that. Oh, F1 25, ladies and gentlemen. Love it or hate it, it definitely provides some surprises, let's say. For better or for worse, it definitely provides the fireworks and surprises as F1 Lightning starts lap 25 of 33. Okay, so here comes Thanos. DRS just gonna pull him straight past SMG Vortex, and that makes it a double RB podium. SMG Vortex having that penalty has pretty much, as things stand, secured it for them. And now with those newer tyres, Thanos is starting to come through the field a little bit. Okay, here we go. Through the first save to SMG Vortex. He's sticking with Thanos. But of course he needs 3 seconds over the second of the two RBs to win this race. On lap 27.33. The front left of those hard tyres is starting to look a little poor. The best of them all at the moment looks to be Thanos' tyres. Or are they? I actually can't tell you. Those look shot. Those don't look horrendous, but they don't look good. Same with them. You know what? They actually look okay. Yes, with Vortex is for 13 lap tyres. Those medium tyres are still going to have plenty of grip left on them, because of course they are only 3 laps old. Same with Jez's tyres, and same with Tom at J Otter's tyres, and even Sheehan, who has been slashing that gap to Amara Espion, and could well actually get into that range on the Ferrari. Amaro Espion has 3 seconds of pens. He needs 5 seconds in 5 laps to do it. And I mean, with the pace he's showing at the moment, it very well could happen. Okay. Once again, the only battle on track at the moment, SMG Vortex and Thanos, but Thanos is now starting to pull away a little bit, and on lap 29 or 33, it's pretty much all wrapped up. There's a yellow, as I said, there's a yellow in sector 2. That is Jezza, and doing that is not going to do your tyres any favours. And you know what, for 5 lap old, they look horrendous. Look at them, for 6 lap olds, they do not look good. And he's going to be into the pit lane. He's all over the place, he's hit the wall in the pit lane as well, and he's going to retire from the session. I mean, all he had to do was go AI and stay in the race, and he would have got a point. But Jezza choosing not to do that. And then there were 9. And then there were 9. Jezza leaves the session, and we are on lap 30 of 33. F1 Lightning. Well, he has had the race of his life. He's just been, well, since he broke DRS to Power Twan and Co, just on a lovely Sunday drive for him, I think it's fair to say. He's just coasted around and has been extending that gap whilst he's been at it. Okay. Well, we are coming towards the end of the race now, ladies and gentlemen. And I've got to say the first stint was very good, but the second stint has been relatively quiet. It's been quiet, but it's been peaceful for F1 Lightning. He won't mind races like this, you know. As a driver, these kind of races where you are completely and utterly dominant are the best ones in a driver's eyes. They're the ones to an extent you enjoy the most. Sheehan just needs a little bit more. He needs 2.3 seconds in 2 laps to get Amara Espion. Yep, there you are. He needs 2.1 seconds in the next 2 laps to get Amara Espion in this race. Just needs a little bit more from those tyres. F1 Lightning is going to come now towards this final lap in a few moments' time. 1.7 seconds now for Sheehan. That is all he needs. 1.4. 1.3. 1.2. It's coming down every single lap as the leader now starts the final lap of the race. Pabaton now across the line as well, as does his teammate Fanos. SMG Vortex will be next, and then it's Amara Espion and Sheehan a little way behind. Only 7 tenths needed for Sheehan now. He is going to do it, I believe. He is going to be able to drag that car up to 5th place after 2 stopping, which is a decent effort from him. 3.4 now stands the gap. 3.3, he's bringing it down every single corner, and he's just 4 tenths away from taking P5 in this race. And there we go, he's pretty much in, as you see there. Right, now to F1 Lightning. If dominance was a person, it would be the Mercedes of F1 Lightning who comes across the line to win here in Spain. Brilliant race from him. It will be Pabaton in 2nd place. Fanos will complete the podium, so it's an RB 2-3. Good points for them as a team. SMG Vortex comes home 4th. It'll be Amara Espion 5th on track, but on penalties, as long as he doesn't bin it, which he doesn't, it'll be Sheehan in P5, Amara Espion in 6th. It'll be CF1 Harold in 7th. Pablo Plays in 8th, and 9th place will be Tom J. Otter. And then we lost Jezza, Entok, Owen CFC, and CL. Was there. Pablo Plays across the line. Sorry, CF1 Harold across the line. Pablo Plays next, and then finally it will be Tom J. Otter to complete the finishers here today. But what a race from this man, F1 Lightning. Absolutely dominant, and that tyre looks dead. That front left looks absolutely dead on the camera there. As here we go. Here is the podium for round 6 here at Spain. And there we are. There is the final order. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of this race here. Thank you all very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. And we will see you next week for more, for round 7 here in FER. Goodbye.